Never, ever put these 7 things on your face after 50. Not if you want to look fresh in front of your grandchildren, your husband, or a camera phone at somebody's birthday dinner. I've done makeup professionally for 30 years, and I have watched beautiful women in their 50s and 60s age themselves 10 years before breakfast without ever knowing it. Not because of their skin, because of habits they picked up in 1992 and never once questioned since. Number 5 is the one the beauty counters will never warn you about, because they make far too much money selling it to you. And number 1 may be the single thing standing between you and looking 20 years younger in every photograph taken of you this year. Welcome back to Timeless Style Living. If you're new here, this is where we talk honestly about looking and feeling your best after 50. No filters, no nonsense. 7 tiny changes today, and every single one of them is free. Stay with me to the end because number 1 changes everything. Before we start, drop a comment and tell me which number you already know you're guilty of. I read every single one, and it's the best part of my day. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe now so you don't lose this channel. Timeless Style Living puts a new one of these out every week, and you'll want to be here for what's coming. We're counting down from 7. Number 7, stop dragging foundation across your face. Watch a woman apply foundation and I can tell her age within 5 years just from her hands. Younger skin gets away with anything. You can wipe product on with your fingers, swipe a sponge side to side, buff it in circles with a big brush, and it looks fine because plump skin has nowhere for the product to fall into. Mature skin does. Every fine line around the mouth, every soft crease at the outer eye, every bit of texture across the cheek is a tiny valley. And when you drag foundation sideways across your face, you're not covering those valleys, you're plowing product straight into them. That's your cakey look. That's why your smile lines look drawn on by lunchtime, like grout between tiles. So we press instead. A damp sponge, tapped and rolled, never swiped. Press the product down into the skin instead of pushing it around on top of it. You'll use dramatically less foundation, which is the whole point, and the finish sits in the skin instead of on it. Same rule for concealer under the eye. Tap it, roll it, walk away. Do not rub. That thin, delicate under-eye skin is the first place your makeup will betray you, and rubbing hands it the ammunition. That technique only works if the canvas underneath is right, and this next one is where most women lose the whole face before they've even started. Number 6, stop putting color on thirsty skin. I watch women go straight to foundation on a bare, dry face, then blame the foundation when it turns patchy across the cheeks and clings to the flaky bits around the nose. Foundation is not skincare. It cannot fix a dehydrated surface. It will find every dry patch you have and grab onto it, and then you'll see that mottled, uneven look in every shop window and car mirror you pass for the rest of the day. Number 5, stop powdering your whole face. And for the love of God, stop baking. This is the one I promised you at the start, the one the beauty counters will never say out loud, because loose powder, setting powder, finishing powder, translucent powder, banana powder, that entire wall of little tubs is pure margin for them and quietly aging for you. Baking is when you pack a thick layer of loose powder under the eyes, let it sit, and dust it off. It went around the internet a few years back, and I've been irritated about it ever since. It was invented for drag performers and young actresses under hot stage lights, where the only goal was stopping sweat. It was never meant for 58-year-old under-eye skin, which is the thinnest skin on your entire body and drier than it has ever been. What powder does on crepey texture is settle. It collects in every tiny line, dries the area further, and creates that gray, chalky, cracked look that photographs like a road map exactly where you least wanted anyone looking. The change, powder only where you actually get shiny, which for most women over 50 is a narrow strip down the center of the forehead, the sides of the nose, maybe the chin. Small fluffy brush, tap the excess off, press it in gently. Cheeks stay bare. Under eye gets a whisper at most, only if you genuinely crease.
Leave some natural sheen on the skin. Sheen looks like life. We've fixed the skin. Now we go up, because the next two are about the eyes, and this first one is quietly hardening a lot of lovely faces. 60 seconds. That's all this takes. A hydrating moisturizer or a hyaluronic serum pressed into slightly damp skin. Then 1 full minute of doing nothing while it sinks in. Use that minute to brush your teeth. When you come back, the skin is plump, a little tacky, and it will accept product like a dream. On mature skin, go further. Mist the face with a hydrating spray, wait, then apply. A slightly damp canvas gives you that lit from within finish that reads as youth on camera every single time. Dry, powdery skin reads as tired. Hydrated skin reads as healthy. That's the entire difference, and it cost you 1 minute in the bathroom. That's the surface sorted. The next one sits in a tub on your bathroom shelf right now, and it's the reason your under eye looks worse at 3 in the afternoon than it did at 8 in the morning.
Number 4, stop drawing your brows as one hard, dark line. Brows change. Everyone's do. They thin, they lose pigment, the tails vanish. The natural response is to reach for a pencil and draw back the shape you had at 30. The trouble is, a solid, sharply drawn brow in a shade darker than your hair does 2 things to a mature face, and both are bad. It hardens you, which reads as severe rather than youthful, and a heavy, flat brow with a downward tail visually drags the outer corner of the eye down with it. So choose a shade 1 step lighter than you think, ideally a soft taupe or soft brown, nothing black and nothing reddish. Short, light, feathery strokes going upward and outward, mimicking actual hair growth, instead of one continuous line along the bottom. Concentrate on filling the sparse middle and lifting the tail, rather than darkening the front. Then take a clean spoolie and brush the whole brow upward. That alone opens the eye area more than most eyeshadow ever will. A softly lifted brow makes a woman look rested. A hard, drawn one makes her look braced for impact. If this is landing for you, take a second right now and subscribe to Timeless Style Living. I put one of these out every week. 30 years of real experience on faces that had to hold up under the worst lighting on earth. Now stay with me because we're into the top 3, and number 3 is a habit almost every woman our age is still doing every single morning. Number 3, stop ringing your entire eye in dark liner. I know exactly where this came from. Somewhere around 1991, a magazine told a generation of women that dark liner all the way around, including a hard line along the lower waterline, was sultry and defining. On a smooth, wide 22-year-old eye, it was. On a mature eye, that ring of dark liner does something very specific. It closes the eye, draws a hard border around it, and visually shrinks the whole opening. Then the lower liner smudges down into the fine lines beneath as the day goes on, giving you that soft gray shadow under the eye that photographs as pure exhaustion. You've seen it in your own holiday photos and blamed your sleep. The change, leave the lower waterline alone. Line only the upper lash line, and rather than sitting a thick stroke on top of the lid, push a soft pencil right into the base of the lashes, so the lash line itself simply looks denser. That's called tight lining. Smudge it out with a small brush so there's no visible edge anywhere on the lid. Then a light, satiny shade across the lid, and the tiniest touch of something bright in the inner corner. The eye opens. It looks like the eye you remember, which is the entire goal. Definition without a cage around it. That's the eyes done. Now, number 2 costs you absolutely nothing, takes about 4 seconds, and I'd put money on you doing it wrong this morning, because I was taught it wrong too. Number 2, stop putting your blush where you've always put it. Almost nobody over 50 is doing this right, because we were all taught to smile and put blush on the apples of the cheeks. That advice was fine at 25, but faces settle over time. Everything gently and gradually moves south, and when you place a warm circle of color on the lower, fullest part of the cheek, you're drawing every eye in the room to the lowest point of your face and adding weight exactly where you want lift. In a photograph, it reads as heaviness straight through the middle of the face.
Move it up. Take that blush an inch higher, sweep it out and back along the top of the cheekbone, angled toward the temple, so the color travels upward and outward rather than sitting in a round dot. Think of drawing a line that lifts toward the ear. Cream or liquid blush over powder here because it melts into the skin and looks like circulation rather than pigment. And while you're at it, retire the dark matte lipstick. Matte formulas are drying. They cling to lip lines, and a deep, flat color makes the lips look thinner than they actually are. A satin or creamy finish closer to your natural lip reflects light and hands you back fullness for free. 1 inch of blush. Do it tonight in the mirror. Wipe it off, put it back where you used to put it, and watch your own face drop. You will not be able to unsee it. Which brings us to number 1. Everything so far has been technique, and every bit of it is free. This last one is about the product itself, and it's the reason so many of you feel like nothing works on your face anymore. Number 1, stop wearing foundation that was never built for your skin. Traditional foundations are heavy on pigment and often matte and drying, so they sit on the surface instead of melting in. Within an hour, they've slid into every smile line and every crease around the mouth. Then oxidizing starts, where the formula reacts with your own oils and shifts orange over the course of the day. You matched it perfectly at 8 in the morning. By 2 in the afternoon, you've got a tide line along the jaw and a color that doesn't belong to your face anymore. Because it never quite matches, women reach for more, which makes the settling worse, which makes it look heavier, which makes you look older. It's a trap, and it sells a bigger bottle at the end of it. Look specifically for a formula made for mature skin, one that blurs fine lines and smooths texture, sits natural instead of heavy, and resists oxidizing through the day. Pair that formula with the press and roll technique from number 7, and I promise you'll use half of what you're using today and look twice as expensive doing it.
So that's the 7, counting back down. Press instead of drag. Hydrate before you apply. Powder only where you shine. Soften and lift the brow. Open the eye instead of closing it. Take your blush an inch higher and get out of a foundation that oxidizes and into one built for the skin you actually have. Not one of those requires a procedure, a dermatologist, or a new personality. The next time somebody takes a photo of you at a restaurant table, you're going to look at it and not immediately want it deleted. That is the whole goal. That's what 30 years in the makeup trailer taught me. Tell me in the comments which of these 7 you're changing first. I genuinely want to know. And if you want the next one, subscribe to Timeless Style Living so you don't miss it. Because next week, I'm breaking down eye makeup for hooded and mature lids, the question I get more than any other, and the answers are not what you were told. I'll see you in that one.